Last week, developers in a blind test ranked a Chinese AI above Claude Fable 5 and GPT-5.6 for coding. Not a benchmark from the company. A blind vote. Nobody knew which model was which. Axios ran the headline, "China just erased America's AI lead." That is the story everyone is repeating. But there are three numbers in the fine print that nobody puts in a headline. By the end of this video, you will know if this model is actually worth your money. Quick context. On July 16th, Moonshot AI released Kimi K3. The numbers are enormous. 2.8 trillion parameters. One of the largest open-weight models ever announced. A context window of 1 million tokens. And this is not the company grading its own homework. Artificial Analysis, an independent evaluator, placed K3 third on their intelligence index. 57 points. Ahead of Claude Opus 4.8. Behind only Claude Fable 5 and GPT-5.6 Sol. On agentic tasks, it jumped from an ELO of 1190 to 1668. In one generation. That is not a small step. That is a different league. Subscribe, because every week we take one hype piece of tech and run it against the actual data. Now, the fine print. 3 receipts. Receipt 1. The blind test win is real. But read what it covers. On the Arena leaderboard, real developers compared outputs blind and ranked K3 number 1 for front-end coding. Above Fable 5. Above GPT 5.6 Sol. That is a genuine first for an open-weight model. It also posted 93.5% on GPQA Diamond, the best open-weight score ever recorded on that test. Here is the part the launch page does not advertise. Most of the other coding numbers were published by Moonshot itself. Several of them do not appear on the benchmark owner's live leaderboards. Some are run inside different coding agents. Different settings. Maximum effort. And 4 of the benchmarks in the launch table are internal. Nobody outside Moonshot can audit them. So the honest summary is this. It wins one blind test that we can verify, and it claims a dozen more that we currently cannot. Receipt 2. The price. For years, the entire pitch of Chinese AI was simple. Almost as good. Radically cheaper. K3 ends that era. $3 per million input tokens. $15 per million output tokens. That is roughly 4 times the output price of its own predecessor. And it is not just the sticker price. Independent testing found the model burns tokens like a furnace. In one measured run, it spent over 13,000 reasoning tokens to produce a 3,400 token answer. There's only one effort setting. Mux. You cannot turn it down. Run the full intelligence index, and the average cost lands at 94 cents per task. DeepSeek V4 Pro does it for 4 cents. GLM 5.2 for 32 cents. So among Chinese open models, K3 is not the cheap option. It is the premium option at American prices. Receipt 3. And this is the one that would stop me from switching today. 3 facts. First, the hallucination rate went up from 39% on the previous model to 51%. It answers more questions correctly, and it also fabricates more answers when it does not know. Both of those rose together. Second, everyone is calling this an open-weight model. Careful, the weights are not out. Moonshot promised them for July 27th. Today, you cannot download it. You cannot inspect it. You cannot run it yourself. Right now, open is a press release word. Third, even when the weights drop, look at the recommended hardware. A supernode with at least 64 accelerators. This is not a model you run in your garage. For almost everyone watching, K3 will only ever exist behind an API. So why is this still a big deal? Because of the trend line. Every few months, a Chinese lab ships an open model that lands closer to the frontier. GLM 5.2 got within reach of GPT 5.5. Now K3 sits ahead of Opus 4.8 on an independent index and wins a blind coding vote against the 2 best models in the world. Bloomberg, CNBC, and Axios all ran it as front-page tech news. The gap that used to be measured in years is now measured in months. And if Moonshot actually ships those weights on July 27th, the best model you can legally download will be Chinese. Again. So, worth the hype? Both directions, honestly. The achievement is real. Independent evaluators confirm K3 is at the frontier, not near it. The blind coding win is verified. This is the strongest open weight release ever announced. But here is the verdict, and it is on the seal. Wait. 3 reasons. The weights you were promised do not exist in public yet. Wait for July 27th. The benchmarks that matter most are self-reported, and the independent numbers that do exist show a model that is slower, hungrier, and more expensive per task than the marketing suggests. And the hallucination rate went the wrong way. At the exact moment you are being asked to trust it with agent work. If Moonshot delivers the weights and independent labs reproduce those coding numbers, this becomes the most important open model in the world. Until then, you're paying Claude money for a model you cannot audit. Every week, we take one hype piece of tech, run it against the actual data, and end with a straight answer. Subscribe. The next one is already loading.